right, there's the click. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 8:20 a.m. It is November 19th, 2025. Hope you guys are feeling good and in good spirits. A lot of stuff still going on in the world. Really, really crazy. As you see, I'm bundled up here. We've had a devastating, not devastating, but unparalleled, not really unparalleled. It's very rain it's very rare it rains in Southern California. So when we have these rainstorms, it just throws everything out of whack and like that. So I live out in the desert near River. If you guys heard of Riverside, California, that's kind of the city I would name outside of Los Angeles. Not many people heard of Menifee and Marietta, Moreno Valley. A lot of, these are like fairly new cities. Riverside's been here since the 1800s, over 100 years. So outside of LA, there was Riverside. Then, of course, past Riverside, there's Palm Springs, so on and so forth, right? You got San Bernardino right next door. San Bernardino County, which is the biggest county in the United States, is right next. It's about 9 miles away from my house, the county line. So, so yeah. So when we have these rains, it's kind of an unusual thing. People do not know how to drive in them. And this rain, it rained for like 4 or 5 days straight, and it's still kind of raining. It rained last night, so it's going to stop a little bit, and it's probably going to rain again. I think we're in another section, so it's a little bit unusual. But see, where I live, out in the desert, I live by the San Bernardino Mountains, Big Bear. I'm like 30. It's like a 30-minute drive to go up to Big Bear, whatever. Lake Arrowhead. Have you guys heard of Lake Arrowhead? Remember the water, Arrowhead water and stuff like that? Yeah. So, so when it rains like this, that puts snow on the mountains. And what happens is I live in a valley, Moreno Valley, right? And so that cold air comes down and it hits the valley and it like sits in a bowl. And we are experiencing, fairly cold weather now. So, which is kind of cool, it's kind of cool, um, it happens, we need the water, there's no doubt. But of course, as President Trump pointed out, and a lot of environmentalists point out, 90% of the water that falls in California goes straight back to the ocean. So when a fire happens, these little basins that we have don't have any water in them. We just release it right back into the ocean. We have no auxiliary water. So all that water that fell, it went right back into the ocean, unfortunately. So anyway, the title of what I'm talking about today is called Winter is Here. And of course, you see that I'm bumbled up. I'm a fairly skinny guy, at least I was skinny. At 5'10", 179 pounds. I don't know if you would consider that skinny, but I was fairly skinny most of my life, right? I come from long, lanky people. I'm average height, average everything. So nothing unusual there. But winter is here in one way or another. Now, some people will take winter is here as it's actually cold. Other people will take it as Kevin Samuels used to say, winter is here for the ladies. It means a lot of things to a lot of people. So the politics are going, of course. Californians voted against their best interests. California with whatever that prop was that Gavin Newsom wanted to propose, $200 million that could have gone to the homeless vets and homeless people in California. Of course, the $20 billion of homeless funds that nobody could seem to find. That's kind of strange. But winter's here for a lot of people. It's here. Big ups to the people in Chicago. They turned down this ridiculous budget, and of course the shaming tactics of that idiot Brandon Johnson. I don't know what it is, but it seems like people that are teachers or people that come from academia, they make really bad politicians to me. They don't know what they're doing. They they treat their constituents as if they're their students rather than boss employee, because the voters are the bosses, but they think that these, whatever. And I had a mayor here that was a former teacher, and he was terrible. He was totally terrible. Didn't know what the hell he was doing, and it was a nightmare, for the city. And unfortunately, he got voted up to supervisor at the county level. And and of course that happened because he has a Latino name, and in cultures they support, just like black people, we support our own, regardless of if they're this or that. We don't even know their records. We just vote for them because the name is Venezuela, and hey, they've got my interest in it. And unfortunately, other groups, they do a better job of taking care of their own people. When it comes to black people, we can vote a black person in, piece of shit Corey Jackson. I keep talking to you guys about piece of shit Corey Jackson. Vote him in office. He does for everybody else but black people. And the sad thing is, he preys on the baby boomers and older, because those people, they don't give a damn, right? At least here in my experience. I don't know about your experiences, but from what I'm seeing across the nation, baby boomers and above don't give a damn about the generations behind them. They basically taken that ladder and pulled it up. They don't give a damn, right? So with this proposition that recently passed, that has now given the politician back the power to rig their own districts, to rig their elections so that they could be reelected. There's a sunset clause on it, but the funny thing is the sunset clause is after the 2029 election, or whatever the next big election is, not the midterms, the next election after that. And that's supposed to be the sunset clause. But we know that, when you rig these things, when the politicians rig these things, people don't pay attention anymore because it's not an issue anymore. And next thing you know, the person's in there forever and ever and ever because they've rigged their districts, just like Jim Clyburn. Are you guys aware Jim Clyburn is the only Democrat in the South Carolina delegation? He's the only one. And it's a fact, he went along with the Republicans to rig all the other Democratic districts as long as he was intact. That's a factual thing. But again, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book, put it in writing. We don't read. Black people, we don't read. It's super sad. So winter is here, literally and figuratively, for black people, in my opinion, and just people in general. People here in California, what they just did doesn't make sense, because that was the main reason we took the power of redistricting away from the state assembly, because they were rigging the elections to where, it was unbelievable. And emotionally, all of these people just now gave back the power to the politician to do what they do. And we know once the politician does something that's in their favor, they're definitely not going to give it up. How can I prove that? I can prove that by this. Democrats for years have said the biggest problem in politics is Citizens United. We just went through 4 years of Joe Biden being in office, and the Democrats did nothing about Citizens United. For 2 years, they had the House and the Senate. There you go. For 4 years under Joe Biden, the Epstein files could have been released, and we could have known who's this and who's that and who's this, right? No, isn't that funny? For 4 years, the Epstein's files wasn't an issue to the Democrats when they were in power. Now Donald Trump, who we've seen on camera actually at a party with Epstein, now it's an issue. Lawfare didn't work against this man. All of this stuff didn't work against this man. If they actually had something on Donald Trump, and I'm not a Trump supporter, but I want you guys to use your basic logic. Think about this. If they had something on Donald Trump, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, don't you think they would have released that against him in regards to the lawfare that was released against him? I don't give a damn at this point what, which way it goes, because I'm not involved. But the point is, it just doesn't make sense to me. For 4 years, you had the power to do this. Now, I know some people, and some people are in the comments right now saying, oh, well, he couldn't do it because, see, Donovan, you don't understand politics and you don't understand how it works. Jeffrey Epstein was, or at least Ghislaine Maxwell was still under an investigation and under trial, so they couldn't release this and they couldn't do that and do that because they didn't want to reveal their evidence until she went to court and case and all this other stuff. I get all that. You could release DOJ files by presidential executive order. But I get what people are saying, but haven't I said over and over again, and good morning to T'Challa. Misty is over there. The Benny Project is down there. But haven't I told you guys over and over again, and I hope you guys are starting to see that. Some of you guys are starting to see it, and I'm thankful. Political theater. This is what you're seeing. You're seeing political theater. They distract over here. They entertain you over there. Oh my God, get my popcorn. Oh my God, who's involved in the Epstein files, whatever. Let me ask yourself this. Regardless of who is in those files, is that going to put more money in your pocket? Is that going to better your life in some way? It's political theater, you guys. This is what I've been telling you guys. And if you're not a person like myself who is deep into politics, who participates at the local level, and I vote nationally and all that, but I'm talking about I'm involved in my city council. I didn't go to city council last night, but I watched it on TV, and I could watch it again later on at lunch today when I'm doing my thing. I send my emails and send my opinion for public record. But how many of you guys do that? I don't understand how you could be part of a city, part of a town, and you don't know what the hell's going on in the town, but that's your business, right? But you people that I just described are the very people that are bitching and moaning when your taxes go up, this happens and that happens, which goes back to Chicago. What's going on in Chicago? I said on the Demetra K show that Democratic policy toward black people, California is the template. There are less than 6% of black people in California left, in the population of California. Less than 6%, and people are still fleeing. And how are they doing it? Gentrification. They are pricing black people out of historically black neighborhoods. They just had a suspicious fire in a predominantly black neighborhood earlier this year. And those people do not have the money or the resources to rebuild because they have to rebuild according to the new code. A lot of those homes were over 100 years old or close to 100 years old. They were on the old code. My house was built in 1980. I believe the national code changed in 1981, maybe late 1980. So a lot of my electrics in my house, a lot of the way my house was built on the old code, because the old code said you didn't use particle board, you use real wood. So my house has real wood, and it's on the old code. So I spent, a good example, I spent a significant amount of money to change my electric circuit breaker box, right? So now my circuit breaker box has the new circuits, right? The new breakers, and it also, which could go off the new grid, or whatever the power they're feeding off this new grid, whatever. It's not even a new grid, whatever their power feeding is from. So this new circuit breaker panel could take more power, because we are consuming more power as consumers, into the house. Not only that, if I wanted to hook up solar power to my home and put solar panels in, my panel could do that. If I want to put in a e-vehicle recharging unit, I now can do that. But it costs a significant amount of money to do that. I know people say, well, you should have got the rebate, whatever. You can't get the rebate if you ain't got a electric vehicle. I don't have an electric vehicle. Don't want an electric vehicle. Okay. Um, so, but now my circuit breaker is on the new code, and my insurance company, my property insurance company, a lot of people in California, because of the fires that happened in the towns that got burnt out earlier in the year, the insurance companies are going around saying that if you do not upgrade your your code, especially when it comes to your electrical box, they could drop you. Okay, so all that money I've been paying them over all these years, I can get dropped just like that. They steal my money and that's the end of it, right? So a lot of people are faced with that. But this is how they price us out of the market. How many of us have the resources to do these things at this time? I mean, a lot of us are struggling, regardless. I see people that are making six figures here in California. Six figures is nothing. They're still living paycheck to paycheck because of all the debt they have. They still got a mortgage. They still got house payments. They're sending their kids to colleges or whatever they're doing. But specifically speaking for black people, the Democratic policy toward black people, California is the blueprint. If we can't get reparations here, where are you going to get reparations? This is a super democratic state. We can't get reparations as citizens, but non-citizens could get housing, food, and all sorts of benefits, healthcare, everything. Look at what's going on in Chicago. Jessica Jackson, who's an activist, and you guys, if you've seen some of her videos, as she's talking at city council, she lived in Los Angeles area for a very long time, over 20 years. And one of the reasons, my understanding, when we interviewed her, that she went back to Chicago is, her mother had passed and the mother had property there. The city is trying to steal the property legally by raising property taxes. Now just think about this. If your property tax, and I don't know what the property tax is in Chicago, but I can tell you the property tax here in California average in my area is $2,200 a year. Now imagine the next year, which Brandon Johnson just did, and some people in Chicago are just finding out, their property tax has doubled. So just imagine last year you paid $2,200, and then this year they want you to pay $4,400. You just found this out. You have 6 months to pay that bill. What do you do? This is what's going on, you guys. Notice that it's only going on the doubling and increasing areas of where black people live. Illinois is a Democratic stronghold state. Chicago is a Democratic stronghold. Look at the policy that they're doing toward black people. And Jessica Jackson is over there trying to tell them what the blueprint is by looking at California, because she lived here. And she's over there fighting for her property. But why is this such a shock to black people? Because we're not paying attention. We're too busy partying, worried about Cardi B, going on cruises and bum fights and all this other stuff. So while we're doing all of that, look at what they're doing with the government, and we're not attending city council, and we attend city council till it's too late. And then when you look at the Chicago residents that are paying attention, there's so few of them. It's like when I go to city council here, I'm in a town of 210,000 people. When I go to city council, there's probably 4 black people in the audience. And we're not talking about special presentations. We're talking about the actual meeting. And out of the 4, one of them is a council member. Winter's here. And I know you Negroes over in Atlanta, you Negroes in Philadelphia, you Negroes in Jacksonville, Florida, you Negroes in New Orleans think, oh, it's not going to happen here. There's too many of us here. Really? Really? Look at New York. It's gone communist. And the sad thing is, a lot of black people voted for that incoming mayor who doesn't give a damn about black people. A lot of us claim to be Christians and all this other stuff. The book of Exodus talked about a man named Noah. And Noah was given enlightenment by God to prepare for the great flood. And the great flood happened, I guess, it took like 100 something, 200 years, whatever. And in that time, Noah was building this ark. So let's give an example. Noah's building an ark in a desert. And he's building this ark. Everyone's, oh man, don't worry about it. Come party with us. Hey, we got these 8 virgins. We're going to go over there and have a big old orgy. And, come on, have fun. We're going to go dance. We're going to go to this concert. Oh man, we're going on a cruise. Don't even worry. We're going on this trip. You're missing out. You're wasting your life. And Noah's like, no, the storm is coming. It's coming. You guys, help me build the ark. Please come help me. It's going to be too late if you don't listen, whatever. And he just kept building his ark. But he, when people would come by and try to convince him to go do something else, he's like, no, that isn't it. You don't know what you're talking about. God told me this is what's going to happen. And we know the story of Noah. The flood came. The rain started coming, and everybody ran toward Noah's ark. They were like, Noah, let us in, let us in, let us in. And it was too late. And a lot of people drowned. So you got people like myself in the new black media. Brother Phil Scott, Vicki Dillard, Demetra Kay, Jessica Jackson, turned Chicago red. You got all of these people out here ringing the alarm in regards to black people, trying to tell you guys, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And we're not getting any help from the Hispanics, the Latinos. We're not getting any help from the Africans. We're not getting any help from the Jamaicans. In general, I know some of them are, but you guys know what I'm talking about. We've been ringing the alarm. California is done for black people. Look at what's going on in Chicago towards black people. Look at what's going on in New York towards black people. Our communities are destroyed. I know, I'm in the South. It ain't going to happen down here. There's too many of us down here. I'm a military person. I don't put all of my assets in one spot so that one nuclear strike can knock everything out. And even if we do pool ourselves as a group in one area, look at the people we vote to go into office. They sell us down the river every time, or if they're ineffective in politics, we keep them in office regardless. You guys have seen Maxine Waters. Do you guys think Maxine Waters works for black people in her district? How can she work for black people when 73% of the people that voted for her in the last election were Hispanic? As long as she's going to do for Latinos, her seat is safe. There's not enough black people in South Central anymore. See, a lot of you guys that don't live here, you think of California like Boys in the Hood when you were going, oh man, I remember when I was little. You haven't been here in years. It's changed that drastically. Now look at your cities. Look at all these Indians, Indian from India, that have moved into the neighborhoods. Look at all these Middle Easterners that have moved into the black neighborhoods. I want you guys to think about this. When these people come to the United States, illegal or legal, it doesn't matter. Where do they go where they know they can go there, be accepted, and not bothered? They go to the black neighborhoods. And then they change the dynamics of the black neighborhood by pushing us out. That's what happened in Compton, California. Eazy-E, God rest his soul, would be shocked at Compton, California. It's mostly Hispanic now. South Central Los Angeles is mostly Hispanic. Well, historically it was always Hispanic, blah, blah, blah. That's true. That's very true. California was Mexico anyway. It was Mexico. This is not stolen land. Look up the Treaty of El Delgado, the end of the Mexican-American War. This land was purchased legally. America paid $15 million for the Western territories and the northern states of Mexico, and agreed to pay any of Mexico's outstanding debt and lawsuits going against their government. So please don't believe that lie that this is stolen land and stuff. Read the Treaty of El Delgado. Hope I'm saying that right. But we're ringing the alarm, you guys. They are marginalizing black people in real time, and I don't know why people can't see this. Oh, you're just a Trump supporter. Republicans do it too. White supremacy is white supremacy. I don't care if you got an R in front of your name or a D in front of your name. Doesn't matter. White supremacy is white supremacy. We have no friends out here. White supremacy has also allied with white Latinos, the white Cubans, right? Because the majority of Cubans look like me. 80% of the Cubans look like me. And you don't see them fleeing and complaining about their situation in Cuba. They are marginalizing black people in real time. And we are sitting there acting like we don't know what the hell is going on when it's happening in real time. Oh, the Epstein files. What the hell does the Epstein files have to do with you? Oh, I don't need no man. Winter's here. Look at the women, black women that were targeted, that lost their jobs, that had homes. Remember, black women are the first to throw in your face. Oh, we're the homeowners. We're the ones buying all the homes. We buy more homes than black men. Okay. Now you're going to be also the ones that are losing them more than black men. My point and what I'm saying here, you guys, is we got to get our shit together. The alarms have been ringing. You feminazis, it's over. It's done. It's a lie. Ladies, feminism is a lie. You would fare better right now if you had a husband or a partner or whatever you call it. Two is always better than one. We're ringing the alarm, and it's in real time. Political theater, it's real. Winter's here. Christmas is coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up. And in our community, Section 8 has stopped. Oh, white people there are more white people on Section 8 than anybody. I don't give a damn. I don't care about any other group but mine. I have to worry about my group first before I worry about anybody else. Within the black community, 70% of households are led by women. By women. Oh, well, where are the men? Where are the men? Where are the men? Who cares? Whoever you selected, it didn't work out, whatever, that you decided to have children with, that's your business. Don't put that on me or anybody else. That is your business. We're the only group in the world that is led by women. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. My mother is a widowed mother. She was a widowed woman. She lost her husband. And by the grace of God, she raised 2 sons and kept positive men around us. But my mom didn't go around blaming a dead man, my father, for the situation she was put in. A lot of you guys got your baby daddies right around the corner. Kathy Johnson, hey, how are you doing? Have you started your retirement yet? What is going on with that? How are you? Yes, yes, yes. We are better together than we are apart. Stop listening to these mannish type women. A good example, Vivica Fox. That magic stick that 50 Cent put on her, I don't know what. It doesn't make sense to me that she's still talking about that guy. Ah, yes. All right. Congratulations. Welcome to the family of retirees. I'm going to give you some advice as a newly person into the retiree world. Stay away from your old, how can I say this? Your old employees type thing. So like when I left the military, the best advice they told me was to stay off the base as much as possible. They told me to stay off base as much as possible because you're going to stay in that mindset. I wanted to get away from the military mindset and get a civilian mindset. So you in your profession, and I don't want to see what your profession is. You in your profession, yeah, you can still see your friends, but you kind of want to get away from it a little bit so that you can be a new Kathy Johnson, right? So I'm just giving you a little advice there, but congratulations. Oh my God. And you retired at the right time because again, like I tell people all the time, I can't tell you how many friends I have. Hey Brian, what's up, my brother? I can't tell you how many friends that I have that wish they had gone into the military, be it the reserves, the guard, or whatever, because they worked for a company and they got to constantly work, and they can't even get VA. Like some of my buddies that went into the military, they only did 4 years, and then they got out, and of course they applied for their VA from injuries, whatever, and at least they've got that coming, right? Right. I know I didn't want to put your information out there like that, so I didn't want to put your stuff out there. Yeah, retired flight attendant. So now you got those flight benefits, and so you're going to be flying all over the world and doing all that great stuff. I'm sure you saw my videos of my casa, my home in the DR, my second home in the DR, 4-bedroom suite on the 3rd floor. Alcohol, everything provided, free food, free breakfast, free dinner, salon, golf, ticket, everything included. Okay, but I paid for that, ahead of time. But a lot of stuff in there. And the whole key to that whole thing is they depend on people not using it. And I signed up for that in June. I've been back there 3 times since then. I've been back there 3 times since then. And they're looking at me like, I told you, these guys ain't going to make no money off of me. The more I use it, they don't make any money because I keep showing up. And I'm there for a week. Every time I go, I'm going to be there for a minimum of a week. So they're doing their thing. So yeah. So if you need that travel buddy, let me know. Yes. I hope I said this right. Yaira, did I say that right, Coburn? Yes. Happy birthday to you again. I don't know how old you are, but let me take a guess. 22. 22, like that. So yeah, but yeah, the winter's here, you guys. It's here, figuratively and literally. Winter is here. We are better together. Stop listening to these mean ass, hate a man, feminists, ladies. You never hear a man say, we don't need a woman. I've never heard a man, unless he's gay, I don't need a woman. I'm talking about men, not these other men, these other alternative lifestyle guys. I've never heard a man say that. We need women. Oh, 56. That's still young. You're only a year older than me. Yeah, message me and let me know. I'm on that travel club. Like I said, I'm planning a trip to Fiji, maybe Australia. I can go anywhere in the world, and I'm going to be uh, taken care of. Really, really, really nice. So yeah, but if you need a travel buddy, uh, I got to use my Spirit miles because Spirit's going to go under fairly, fairly soon. I got my American mileage. I'm building that back up. Oh yeah, I've been to Egypt through the military. I'm done with Egypt. I can't do Egypt. I want to go to the Congo. I want to go to the Congo, and I want to go to Uganda. I'm friends with Idi Amin's son, Jafar, his oldest son. Me and him talk on Facebook and stuff. So I want to go there. I want to go to Liberia. I want to go to Liberia because that was an American colony. So yeah, I am going and have a deal. Okay, yeah. Egypt's great. No, I'm not saying don't go. I'm just saying, being in the military, we've gone several times. I'm just over Egypt. But great place. Great place. People are very, very friendly there. Make sure you go in a time where there's not too much tension. So again, we are better together than we are apart. We have to pull it together because we are being marginalized in real time. The women are going to be losing their homes. Look at all the mortgages that are going to be lost. This is what they do to us. Well, the Congo. Okay, remember now. You got to remember there's two Congos. There's a small one and there's a big one, which is basically they're the same people. You know how they break off. But as a man, you can travel, especially as a black man, you can travel anywhere in the world. Nobody's going to bother you because they know we're not the problem. We don't have any power. We're nothing. This is that. That's the propaganda that's been put out there. So if you're a black man, you can travel anywhere you want. I always caution women, especially women from the United States, to not travel by themselves because, ladies, I know you don't want to hear this, but it's just a fact. The patriarchy is very strong outside of the United States. You talk that feminism shit to those people outside there, you might get a fist in your face. I'm just telling you the real deal. That is the real world. They do not tolerate feminism outside of the United States. And I'm talking about like Western countries. Outside of Western countries. Yeah, maybe Japan might tolerate a little bit of it, but their culture, their women are docile by culture. Yeah, you might go to Britain and get away with that bullshit. Yeah, you could go to Britain. Germany, maybe you might get, France, you might get away with it. But I'm talking about countries that you guys want to go to, that it's like machismo is the real deal. They ain't going to tolerate it. That's why you hear stories of women getting jailed and this, that, or acting up because these people aren't going to tolerate it. Feminism destroys cultures. That's why they clamp down on it. Even in Africa. You go to Africa and try some of that feminism shit. See what happens. Oh, I've been to Somalia. No, I'm not going to do that. That was a military thing. That whole Somalia thing. Boondoggle. Right? Ethiopia. I'd like to go to Ethiopia, to see the real Jews, go over there and visit there. So, so in conclusion, you guys, I don't want to keep you guys too long, but winter is here. And we as a black people have to really decide, are we going to survive? Are we going to let these people marginalize us so much that we have nothing left in this country? And if you think I'm lying and you think I'm not worried about it, why is it that all you saw on YouTube were black women crashing out because EBT is being cut, Section 8 is being cut? What does that tell you? Yara says, will you be a guest with a reparations perspective on YouTube? Please check her out and see if it's a go, then I will let her know. Yeah, it just depends on what time it's going to be on. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that, but I got to really look it up. But um, yeah, to get the message out, I'm not against helping. Like I said, anything to help my people, I'm going to do. Because here's the thing, you guys. Donovan's going to get to a point to where I'm going to say, I've done everything that I can. And I've got to go live my life to the best that I'm going to live, because I have more years behind me than I have in front of me now. Oh, you went to Ethiopia this year? It's the best. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I want to look up and find Haile Selassie, and because he's a direct descendant of Jesus Christ and all that stuff like that. So yeah, I want to go over there and check that out. But Somalia and Ethiopians, they look sort of the same. Their features. So, I know they're right next to each other, but again, this is another thing of the tribalism and things that go on. But we have to pull it together, you guys. I am a firm believer that the Democratic Party's policy is to marginalize black people by using black people as a Pied Piper to lead most of us to a distraction. That's what I believe. And I'm seeing it because we're voting against our best interests. We are not delineating from these other groups. Uh, I've got relatives that are Jamaican. I love them to death, whatever. No problem with them. And if you talk to them, they will tell you, come to this country in the right way. Major category storm. And I was shocked that the Jamaicans that I saw, and I'm not saying all the Jamaicans, I'm just saying the ones that I saw on YouTube that were calling out black people for the way they were acting, and then the person that they were referring to wasn't even an American, a black American. So I was shocked. But because out of all of the diaspora, the Jamaicans, to me, are closer to us like cousins than any other group of people in the diaspora, right? Because like I said, the Panamanians are close, but they speak Spanish, so they're more into the Latin sphere. Whereas the Jamaicans, being British colony, they speak English. We have a lot in common with them and things like that. And I know people say, well, Haitians. Well, Haitians can speak many languages. So okay, yeah. Message me with that, and I'll see what I can do. Kathy Johnson, my top 3: Belize, Colombia, and Thailand. Well, Kathy, I'm going to tell you, you're a gorgeous woman, but that's a lot of competition down there in Colombia and in Belize. But I'm very sure you could compete, so I'm not going to even question that. Okay. I went to Addis Ababa and Lalabia. I can't say these words. Plus South Ethiopia, to the families living in cow dung huts. The food they cook was phenomenal. I bought them gifts. Yeah. I mean, whenever I go to different countries, I don't really like to go to the tourist areas. I like to go where the people are, so I can learn about the real deal, the real people, what's really going on. Yeah, Brian, it's time for us to open our eyes as a people. And I'm not telling people don't enjoy the benefits of being an American and vacationing and doing all this other stuff. I'm saying go to your city council and see what's going on. Because here's the funny thing, Brian. By the time we show up to city council or the planning commission, everything's already been approved. You're like 3 months late to holler and scream. It's already been approved. And the sad thing is, we're in a technological age. You can watch your city council on the free public access TV on YouTube. You could send an email to your alderman or whoever, council person, and put it on the public record. We have all the excuses of why we can't participate in our government, but yet we could make the club on time. We could get to church on time. But then when they tax the hell out of us, we want to holler and scream. And then you're like, what happened? You don't even know what the issues are. It is so sad. It is so sad. But Yara, I've always been like that. I was raised in Japan as a young person in Asia. So I've always, when I go to a country, I want to learn about the culture. That's why I love the Dominican Republic, because number one, I'm a Catholic. That was the first Catholic church was built in the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo, in the colonial area, the colonial zone down there. And I actually went to that church, and so for me that was a big thing. And then learning about Hesperia, which is what it was called, and how the Haitians and the Dominican, even though they kind of are the same people, they kind of aren't. You know, with the slavery and stuff that goes on in there, it's just fascinating stuff. And the Dominican people are beautiful people, men and the women. They're very good-looking people. You know, just like the Panamanians. You know, I tell people Panamanians are basically Colombians, because remember they were one nation until the United States interceded and broke them up and stuff. So there's a whole history lesson. But like I said, learning the culture. I like learning the culture. Kathy Johnson, competition for what? I never compete, I attract. Go ahead, sister. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. There is no competition. That's that confidence. You got to have that confidence, because I'll see a lot of women that'll go down to these countries. They'll be like, "Oh my God, these women are so." I was like, "Okay." You know, a lot of these women have surgeries. They invest in their bodies and stuff. You know, sisters didn't have to do that. Either you had it up here, or you had it back here, or you had both. You know, but you had it. You know, I think that the biggest problem with our sisters today, especially the young youth, is the attitude. It's the attitude that make our black women look so ugly. It's that street attitude. Just, you're mad at the world all the time. Not all of you guys, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That attitude, which is driving a lot of men away. Like me, I love my sisters, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to tolerate this feminism shit. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. So anyway, you guys, winter's here, and we're ringing the alarm. We are ringing the alarm, and I want you guys, California is done, but please look at California as a blueprint. Now you need to focus on what is happening in Chicago. Look at this budget fight. They have to pass this budget by sometime before the end of December or something like that. Look at this budget fight and watch what is going on and how the Democrats move. Because remember, this is a Democratic stronghold. They are taxing the hell out of the black folks. So when you watch what's happening in Chicago, I want you to look at your city council. Look at what they're building in your city. Why is it that there's never any money for the black neighborhoods? Or the black neighborhoods are the last to get resources? Think about that. Kathy says, I fit anywhere. I'm an international player with a passport. I hear you. I hear you. See, but you've never gone up against a brother like me and how I roll. And I know you're international, being a flight attendant and all that other stuff. I know. But remember, in the military, I was a pilot, so I kind of know the lingo and the talk and all that other great stuff. Embry-Riddle graduate, so I know all the aviation stuff. But I don't think you've ever gone up against a guy like me, because I'm telling you, when I'm at that bar and I'm overseas, I'm a different person. Totally different person. And Brian, being a military person, he'll tell you that's what goes overseas stays overseas. Yeah, Yara says, California's been done. It is sad. I will also message you about the required voter ID here in California. I have the petition, but it is online. Yeah, just let me know. Just send me the link. You send me the link. But let me go, you guys. What I'm doing is my officers organization, what we're doing is we are not waiting for the government to help these homeless veterans. They could help illegals, but they can't seem to solve the homeless veteran problem. So what we're doing in my officer organization, what we're doing is we are volunteering at local establishments for the holidays, and we're acting now. And my pledge is $7,000. So I'm working at a local hardware store, and I'm working toward that goal, the $7,000. And what we're going to do is all our members, wherever they work, we're going to pool that money together, whatever the president's going to do. And we're going to buy vouchers for our veterans. We're going to get them gym memberships so they could at least go to the clean themselves up. If, because you can't force somebody to go inside. You can't. Right? Some of these guys are Army Rangers and Special Forces. They might just want to stay outside. I don't know. But the fact is, we're not going to wait on our government because our government has failed us here in California. So what we're doing is we are going to go out there for our brothers and our sisters, and we are going to go ahead and give them vouchers for food. If they want to go to a hotel for the night, because it's getting cold out here, we are not waiting. And I've pledged $7,000 in my time, and that's what I'm doing. I'm using my expertise as a former mechanic at a hardware store. And we're going to put our money where our mouth is, because it's a national shame. I can't control the government. If the Democratic Party is going to support non-Americans, it is a national disgrace how we're treating these veterans. And I don't care why they're out there. The fact of the matter is they answered the call to protect this great nation and to do these things. And we're in my organization, our organization, we're doing something about it. And we're going to get out there and get these guys, get them off the streets the best we can, at least in our city. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, Brian, working. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Brian says, like your topics, my brother. Keep up the excellent work and God bless. Kathy says, I sub-teach since retirement. Okay, good, yeah. Trying to help educate our kids. Yes. We have to start taking care of our own first. For you moms out there, do you guys feed other people's children before you feed your own? Of course you don't. Nobody does that. But for some reason, the Democratic policy, and I know why they did it, is to deal with these people and look at the money that we have to spend to get them out of here. The same money that we spend to get them here, look at the money that's spending to get them out of here. And another thing we got to think about is $1 trillion military budget. Dwight Eisenhower, who was the first black president, his mother was a mulatto. Yes, she was. History books won't tell you that, but go look it up. He said, as he left office, the military-industrial complex, for every dollar that goes to the military-industrial complex is theft to every man, woman, and child in the United States. That's money that we can't go to take care of our citizens. $1 trillion budget, and we're not at technically a war. Yeah, we're in operations, but we're not at war. And remember, I'm a military person, and I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. Most of my stocks and bonds are in the defense industry, and we can't lose. $1 trillion budget, and we are not at war. What does that tell you? Yara says, follow Carl DeMaio. He is really about flipping counties in California and started the required voter ID. I went to a meeting he held near me. Okay. No, facts. All right, you guys, let me let you guys go. I'm going to go and volunteer, and I'm just going to say this. If you really are about that life and you want to help these moms out here who lost their jobs recently, these moms out here who may have lost their SNAP, EBT, Section 8, or whatever, get out there and do some volunteering, especially if you can get out there and volunteer. I'm not telling you guys to go more than what you can do, but we have to take care of our own. The government's not going to do it anymore. This is what they're telling you. They would rather give to the Venezuelans and the illegals than deal with the people who actually built this country. And I'm not going to sit here and, my organization, we're just not going to help like veterans. We're going to help other people that need help as well. But our primary concern is the veterans. So again, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take care of our own. We just have to do it at this point. So just because that single mother made mistakes or whatever, I don't know if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Jew. I don't care if you're a Baptist. I don't care what you call yourself. We got to take care of our own. We are being marginalized in real time, you guys. Real time. Winter is here, figuratively and literally. All right. Talk to you guys later. You guys be safe. This is T'Challa. This is T'Challa, the Black Panther. You guys can see he is really dark. You can see his little eyes right there. He's my feral cat. He's been with me for 10 years. And he's living the life. Trust me. He lives the life. You can't even see him against my jacket. But all right, you guys. You guys have a great day. Be safe out there. And again, Kathy, let me know when you're going on your trip. Don't be sneaking out of the country without me now. I could meet you wherever you go. I could meet you over there. All right. You guys have a great day.